Hey, what's up? Hello. Welcome to Hack a Chat. This is our Southeast Division preview. I'm Chuck P. With me, as always, is my favorite screenwriter, Aaron Sorkin. Dan, what are we going to do today?
We are here to talk some hoops and tell you what happened to Harold Miner.
Behind the MacBook, we have the anchor of our AV, Gyro.
It's nice to be here.
We're glad you showed up. We're glad to be here for our Southeast Division preview. With each divisional preview, we do three things for all five teams. The first thing we do is find the player that we are most compelled to watch. We got to keep our eye on this year. Number two is find our most interesting lineup that we can for each of these rosters. And number three is to tell you what's going to happen. The M. Night Shyamalan scenario. In every M. Night Shyamalan movie, there is some twist, some pull, whether it be good or bad. But we're just going to tell you the twist anyway. We're going to tell you how all these things end for each one of these NBA teams in this season. Dan, this is a theme that we had ready to go for. This is your idea. This is all your planning, and so I'm excited for it. You're going to be heading this one up. What is the theme that we have for our division here?
So the theme we're going to have here is Aaron Sorkin lines. You ready, Chuck?
Let's go.
And here we go.
Now, to make sure we're keeping on track, Dover has already a 5 minute
No, 5
buzzer.
seconds.
5 seconds. We're going to be in a lot of trouble. A 5 minute
Dwight
buzzer.
Howard's not great. That's it.
Let's go. You're going to hear this. If we're going too long, that means we got to get going. We got to get heading. And Gyro's going to be on top of that. We're going to start out with the Atlanta Hawks. Dan, what is the Aaron Sorkin line for the Atlanta Hawks?
So Aaron Sorkin, big fan of his writing. You know, Aaron Sorkin really likes himself a lot. You know, invented the walk and talk, did a lot of really cool movies, TV shows, lots of cool things. So for the Atlanta Hawks, I was, thinking about how we could take a line from one of his things and incorporate that into the Southeast. And, there's a certain player on the Atlanta Hawks that this kind of works its way into. So if you're a fan of The Newsroom, spoiler alert, the very beginning of the television show starts with a college setting and a panel talking to, you have some different media members talking to a group of students. And one of the students asked the question, what makes America the greatest country in the world? And, all the panels say something along the lines of economics and capitalism and freedom and all of those sorts of things. And it gets to Jeff Daniels' character, and he's sitting there, and he's like, America's not the greatest country in the world, but it used to be. Whoa, mind blow, enter the Newsroom theme music. So, Chuck P., you and I kind of discussed this, and there may be a certain new face on the Atlanta Hawks that isn't the best player in the world, but he may have used to be.
Yeah, Dwight Howard. I mean, he was a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. This is a guy who was a perennial talent, was on every All-Star ballot. And now people are seeing the poison, the locker room poison. He went from the Lakers to a couple years with the Rockets, and they kind of fell apart, and they lost their head coach. And now he's with the Atlanta Hawks. And look, Dwight, you used to be one of the greatest players.
Yeah.
But you're not anymore. But look, he's got the talent. And we'll see this year if the Atlanta Hawks and Coach Bud can pull him out of that. Who's the player you're keeping your eye on? Is it Dwight?
It's actually Dwight. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
He's been in some weird situations. So he's, ever since this major back injury, he's never really been the same player, and he's kind of bounced around and been to some different places. And he's finally home. He's home back in Atlanta. He made the big thing about being back in Atlanta, being home. And I just think it's going to be a weird situation that he's going to be entering into. He's not the kind of player that Budenholzer really likes. He likes the guys who really step out and shoot it, spread the floor, really heady, where Dwight would get upset about touches in the post, whereas that's really not going to be the free-flowing system that Budenholzer likes to really coach in Atlanta. So I'm keeping my eye on Dwight, and it's off the court stuff as well, because almost every place he's been, he's hasn't got along with the coach, has caused problems in locker rooms. I don't want to say he's a bad guy because I don't know him. But I'm just kind of going off what I've seen. I don't know that I'd want him as a teammate. I don't know that I'd want him in my locker room if I was the one kind of running the show. So I'll just keep my eye on that. I hope to see Dwight, kind of be a little more mature and be more of the leader in the locker room that he claims to be. But I'm going to keep my eye on him this year. Chuck, who are you keeping your eye on?
My guy's Paul Millsap, and this is a guy who is now a 3-time All-Star and still is not getting the recognition that he deserves. He's one of maybe the top 20, could be top 15 players in the NBA right now. Defensively, he's awesome. He is absolutely crazy. And he actually has a lot of different moves offensively. He's a little undersized. That might be part of it. But I really wanted to bring him up just to be like, hey, people, this guy's legit. This guy's not just sneaking into all-star games. He's there, and he's the reason that the Atlanta Hawks have been so good. Him and Al Horford as well. And so that's why I wanted to talk about Paul Millsap. I love the guy, and I just want to see him get some more recognition. And I'm putting him in what's my lineup is the starting lineup I think it's going to be for the Atlanta Hawks. I got Schroeder at number 1, Cephalosha at 2. We're going to move Kyle Korver over to 3. Just because I think putting him in between Cephalosha and Millsap will help on the defensive end. We're going to have Dwight Howard see if he can return to his former self. Dan, who are you looking at?
Well, the thing that's weird is putting together a lineup right now that doesn't involve Jeff Teague and Al Horford. So the two biggest losses to the team. It kind of goes back to the Aaron Sorkin line. Like, it used to be great. This team used to be great.
They won 60 games.
Exactly. So they used to be great, and there's this drop off from what they have on the roster right now. They still have some pieces. They still have a really great coach. They bring in Dwight. So my lineup's going to be Dennis Schroeder, Dennis Schroeder as my point guard. They just paid Kent Bazemore this offseason. He's going to be my shooting guard. I have Kyle Korver as my small forward as well. 6'8", 6'9", can step out and shoot the three, spread the floor. I have Paul Millsap as my 4-man, and then Dwight as my 5. I think this is a lineup we'll see on the floor for these guys a lot. 3 guys that could really space the floor, some high ball screen and roll with Dwight and Schroeder.
Woo, let's get moving.
Let's keep moving. So, that's my starting lineup. What do you think? How are you feeling about the end of the year?
I'm a little worried. I think that especially since Schroeder's going to be thrust into the number 1 spot, and their backup point guard, Jarrett Jack, is no longer on their team. They waived him. And so now their backup is Malcolm Delaney. And here are the things I know about Malcolm Delaney. He's a rookie. He went to Virginia Tech, and those are all the things I know about Malcolm Delaney. So I think it's going to be a problem. They're going to have issues. If Schroeder goes down, their season might be just completely over. I think they're going to sneak into the playoffs, but they're out in the first round. Dan, what are you thinking?
Similar things. I feel like just Dwight's going to cause problems. I don't think he's going to get along. I don't think he's going to have a great situation with Budenholzer being in Atlanta. I have them getting into the playoffs as the 7th seed. I don't love that I did that, but I did it. And it's mainly just because Budenholzer is as good of a coach as he is. But I think it's an early exit. I think it's first round and out. I don't have really high expectations for the Hawks this season.
All right, we need to get moving on. Let's go to the Charlotte Hornets. Dan, what is our Aaron Sorkin line for the Charlotte Hornets?
So setting the stage a little bit, they're moving Moneyball, another great Aaron Sorkin, scripted film. There's a situation, spoiler alert, in the movie where Brad Pitt's character plays Billy Bean, has a little daughter he's about to put on an airplane, and they have a really cute back and forth where the A's are not having a good season, things are really being bad. He's trying all this Moneyball kind of stuff. The daughter looks at him and says, basically like, hey, what's going on? And are you going to lose your job? And he says, are you worried about me again? Because you're getting on an airplane and those things crash all the time.
All the time.
So that's how I feel about the Charlotte Hornets this year. Lots of guys got paid that really had to play well last season to earn those contracts. And I feel like it's kind of getting on this really nice, bright, shiny airplane, and those things crash all the time. Right. So I just have a bad feeling about where the Hornets are going to be at the end of the season. So that's why I chose this Aaron Sorkin line for those guys. Chuck P., who are you keeping your eye on for the Hornets this season?
Kemba Walker really took a step forward last year as an offensive player. The great point guards and the great players in this league make the people around them better. And we've seen Kemba get better, and I want to see if he can get the players around him better. If he can get themselves into situations, being a floor general, make sure you're distributing the ball the right way to all sorts of different guys. I mean, you got Marvin Williams and Roy Hibbert up front, so we'll see if he can figure out how to get those guys acclimated to Charlotte. And I'm really just wanting to see him step into the leader role. Dan, who are you checking out?
So I'm keeping my eye on the kid, Michael Kidd Gilchrist, back
call.
from injury this season. Let's see if any of those shot mechanics have gotten better. I don't know that they have, but the shooting has been something that's been a real struggle for this team.
It's really weird. He turns his shoulders like 45 degrees.
Yeah, it's
like
almost it's like against everything that
Yeah.
he has been coached his entire life.
It's honestly amazing.
Yeah, it's a complete overhaul of a shot, and I'm sure he's overhauled it a couple times, and it's just in his head at this point.
Right.
But it's what we have is the kid, and keep my eye on him. Another wing guy who can defend. This team is a really stingy, staunch defensive team, and he just adds into that as another wing guy who can really defend. If he could add that the three part of the 3 and D,
Right.
he'd be killer.
He'd be great.
But right now it's only the D. So we'll see what happens with the kid, Chuck P. Does he make your way into the lineup that you've put together as a fun lineup for the Hornets?
Not this one. I wanted to go shooting. You know me. I like the shooters out there. So I put Kemba at my 1. I got Bellinelli at my 2.
Big addition for them.
And then I put Batum at my 3 because I think he can knock it down. Plus Batum, I think he's just like ready to be back to Batum again. We saw flashes of it last year, but after injuries and stuff, I just want Batum back. We love Batum. Marvin Williams I'm putting at my 4, and Roy Hibbert I'm putting at my 5, which I wrote that down, and I kind of didn't believe it for a second that I was putting him down for the Charlotte Hornets. Just like it felt like just a couple of years ago, he was a big-time all-star for the Pacers, a team that was a number 1 seed, and man, he's fallen quite a bit here.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I talked about the line that I did with Aaron Sorkin, just because Roy Hibbert, we're moving so far away from what he does effectively in the NBA. To have a guy like him on the roster is just, and you're replacing Al Jefferson, which is like one of the best back to the basket players in the league over the last 10 years.
Right.
So I left him off my lineup. I went with Kemba as my point guard. The new addition of Marco Bellinelli had him as my shooting guard. The newly, paper money printed Nicholas Batum with that big contract this offseason as my 3. Another newly printed money guy, Marvin Williams, as my 4. And then big Frank Kaminsky as my 5.
Tank.
So I went all shooting, spreading it, spacing it. And it's a lineup I don't know that we'll actually see in real life for the Hornets, but it's one that I think if I were coaching and just said, hey, let me get 5 minutes of up and down, casting up some shots, that's the lineup I would go with.
Well, to give you my M. Night twist, I think that might be part of their problem. I think their front court is really going to bring them down. I mean, Cody Zeller, Spencer Hawes are guys that are going to play real minutes for this team. I think it's going to be an issue. I think they're going to be maybe like the 10 or 11 team in the East. I don't think they're making the playoffs.
Sorry, I'm laughing because Paul also agrees with you and kind of just like
Paul
tipped
just
over in the
fell
back.
over.
Paul's like, I don't like the Pacers. I don't like the Pacers. I don't like this team. I don't like them either. So I'm gonna
okay.
kind of tip and maybe take a little nap.
It's all right, Paul. I'll fall
I'm
asleep.
kind of in the same boat. I think it's just too many guys got paid this offseason, and I think it's gonna be the same hunger that they had the year before, and I think they're going to miss the playoffs, which I don't like saying, but that's what I have.
Sorry, Dave. What are we going to do?
Sorry, Dave.
Sorry, Dave. Next up, we have the Miami Heat. Dan, what's our Aaron Sorkin line for the Miami Heat?
This is maybe the biggest of the Aaron Sorkin lines. One that I didn't even
You didn't
fully
even know. You didn't know.
until you told me.
Yeah, we were talking about this, and I was like, "What? We haven't used this line yet." And you're like,
And I was like,
"Wait, he didn't write that
what?
line, so I don't know what you're talking about."
Right. So we're talking about A Few Good Men.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the most memorable line of the entire movie? Tom Cruise's character shouting at Jack Nicholson saying, hey, you got all these things. You did the code red, all this stuff. And he says, I want the truth. And Jack Nicholson says, you can't handle the truth. I did not know this was an Aaron Sorkin line. So the Miami Heat, we're sorry, but you no longer have the big 3.
Dwayne Wade's gone.
Dwayne Wade is gone. Chris Bosh, not healthy. LeBron James, no longer in the building. You have a
Luol
lot
is
of
out.
young guys.
Joe Johnson
You're
left.
not the same team. We're going to tell you can't handle it.
The truth.
You can't
so
handle the
sorry.
truth.
We're so sorry,
sorry.
Miami. Look, you got a lot of other things going on for you. The fact that you're in Miami.
It's great down there.
So you got that. But
Yeah.
look, the team, we're skewing young. We're looking young, and that's one of my guys to look at and one of your guys to look at as well, Dan. Both young guys. I went with their two-guard, Josh Richardson. He shot 46% last year on 115 attempts. Okay, small sample size-ish, especially in this NBA. But still, he shot 46%. I freaking love this guy. He's going to get a lot of run when he's healthy. Because he's not. But I'm excited to see Josh Richardson play. You know, everyone was looking at their other rookie from last year as to the jumps he can make. I'm looking at Josh. Dan, who are you checking out?
I'm looking at the other rookie, like you had talked about. I'm looking at Justice Winslow.
Mm-hmm.
He and Josh Richardson played in the summer league this summer, and you can kind of tell when the second-year guys are back playing in the summer league. Sometimes there's like, I shouldn't be here. I'm too good to be here, and they play like they're too good to be there. Like he and Richardson just looked head over heels better than everybody in the Orlando Summer League. Like just physically, Winslow looked way bigger, way stronger, way more athletic than everybody on the floor. I think we're going to see a lot of that translate into the season for him. He's going to have more opportunities, more minutes. We'll see if the work that he's put in during the offseason to develop that jump shot have, kind of come to fruition, because he's going to be asked to do a lot more of that stuff. But he's so big and physical that he's going to be able to bully his way to the rim, get to the foul line, and he's going to have a lot of opportunities to do that now. So I'm keeping my eye on him. He actually makes his way into the lineup that I would, put together. If I were kind of running the show here. Now that's the one thing they do have going for him is Eric Spoelstra is one of the best coaches in the NBA.
He's great.
Very smart guy. He has Pat Riley kind of, making sure that he is being mentored properly. So with the lineup, you have Goran Dragic, who's going to be allowed to kind of do his thing now. Now he doesn't have to worry about Dwayne Wade with the ball in his hands. It's going to be his team, and he's going to be able to run the show. You're going to have your guy, Josh Richardson, as the shooting guard. Justice Winslow, we just talked about. I put Derek Williams in there. Had a quietly nice season for the Knicks last season. Kind of an under-the-radar new addition to this team, but I'm going to have him as my 4. And then the big money guy, Hassan Whiteside, got his money this offseason.
Yeah, he did.
And he really got himself paid, and I think he is going to just be a monster in the paint. Chuck P., who are you taking a look at?
I got just about every one of those guys. Dragic, Richardson, Winslow. I put McBob at my 4.
Nice.
Just because it's one of the Josh McRoberts is one of those guys where you just want to see him do well. He's been in and out of the lineup for the last 2 years, and I just want to see him play well. I want to see if he can stretch the floor around Whiteside. Kind of be that 4 guys on the perimeter, 1 guy down low. We'll see what happens with them. Unfortunately, I don't think that this is a playoff team. My M. Night twist here, I think that there's a chance that after a couple months, if this isn't going well, we're going to hear that 4-letter word that starts with a T, and they might tank. I mean, this will be the year to do it. They have their pick. They don't have future picks because they went and got Dragic. So I'm thinking that this is going to be it. This is going to be the time. If they're ever going to tank, they're going to do it this year. Dan, how about yourself, man?
Oh, what happened?
Yeah, so I'm feeling like the same thing is gonna go on. I'm feeling like Dion Waiters is gonna cause problems in the locker room. It's not gonna be good. He's gonna feel like he's the guy when he's not, and this team is gonna miss the playoffs. But they're gonna have their pick. They're gonna add another guy to the mix in the offseason. They'll still have money. It's still Miami. I feel like this is the kind of, hey, let's gonna develop some of these younger guys year, and then next season really jump back into, hey, we're going to make runs at NBA championships. So, not a good season for this upcoming season for the Miami Heat, but good things to come. Got it in at the buzzer.
Right there, man. You nailed it. Moving on to another Florida team, the Orlando Magic. Dan, what are we thinking for the Orlando Magic? I know you really like this line.
So I really like this line. So Aaron Sorkin also wrote Jobs, the Steve Jobs movie that came. That was, I thought, very good. Did not get the same critical acclaim, but I thought it was fantastic. Michael Fassbender was fantastic as Steve Jobs. But you go back and kind of get to the, how Apple became Apple, how Steve Jobs got to be where he was. Spoiler alert, there is a part in the movie where they're talking about creating the computer. And
because we don't know how that story ended. Thank you.
Right, we don't. We don't know how we're here talking to each other over top of laptops. But they're talking about, do they want ports? Do they want to do, be able to add outside things to the computer? And Steve Jobs is like, no, they don't get options. This is what this is. And he actually says this line where he goes, they don't get a vote. When Dylan wrote Shelter Over the Storm, or Shelter from the Storm, he didn't ask the people to contribute to the lyrics. Plays don't stop so the playwright can ask the audience what scene they'd like to see next. So I rate this line and use this line from Jobs as a Frank Vogel and this team just went out and added a bunch of bigs in an era where it's like, hey, we need shooting, we need to get smaller, and we need to be more nimble. Well, you know what? They went out and added a bunch of huge guys to defend the paint. And they are zigging when most people would zag. And they are going the opposite direction of where the NBA is. So that's why I said, they are set in the way of, I do things this way, I'm going to do them this way, and everybody else can just get on board or get out. So that is why I chose this line for the Orlando Magic. Chuck P., who are you keeping your eye on this upcoming season?
Well, to go with that, they did collect big guys this year. They went out and they got Jeff Green. They went out and they got Serge Ibaka. And they went out and they paid Bismack Biyombo. Here's the thing. Bismack Biyombo is not good.
Oh.
I don't think people know this. Because, look, he had a great, 10-game stretch in the playoffs where he's putting double-doubles up against backup centers. He's a backup center. I think that Bismack Biyombo might be Bismack Biyombo is the most overrated player in the NBA. Everyone's looking at huge names when they say that. But seriously, I think he's not good at all. And I don't understand why he got paid this much money. And it's disappointing that other people don't understand that. He had a great run against backups. And, he'll do really well in second unit lineups. But that's it. That's all Bismack Biyombo will be.
So you're keeping your eye on him for those reasons?
Yeah, I'm going to watch him sit on the bench. And I'm going to tell people to look out for this big cap hit just lounging around during games, because I think that's what he's going to do, especially since you went out and you get Serge Ibaka. You already have Aaron Gordon. You already have Nikola Vucevic. Why are you paying this guy?
I don't know, but at least we can say, damn, use a Vucevic.
So we've got that going for us.
We
have that going for us.
We can bring it back a little bit. I'm glad you're so hyped up on the Magic here. This is great.
All summer they're like, they went out and they got. I was like, no, stop it. They didn't use their head when they were doing this. They got a bunch of big guys when big guys are not what people are going to get. Sure, you got a good deal on them. That's because everyone has a car. What? No one's going to pay $20 more for a new car. That was a really dumb metaphor. I don't understand what I was saying, but still, I'm not happy about it. Dan, who are you going to watch?
So I'm going to watch Aaron Gordon, a guy you just brought up a little bit. Let's see if we can see some of this, dunk competition, hype from him. It played itself out after the season last year after he went through the whole thing. I want to see if he can make the jump to really being able to play the small forward position. It's going to be forced there a lot more now that they went out and added all of these bigs, where I feel like they were kind of trending in the way of he's going to play more 4 in small ball lineups, where now he's going to be playing more 3 because they have so many bigs.
But he shouldn't be playing 3. They have too many forwards.
Right.
Sorry.
He shouldn't be, but they drafted him because he had a really good shooting workout when he went down to work out for him. So they thought, hey, this guy can actually shoot it. So I'm just going to keep my eye on him. I want to see if he can have the same, second half of the NBA season that he had last year into this upcoming season. He actually cracks if I were just coming up with a fun lineup to put together, who I would put in that lineup. I'm with DJ Augustine as my point guard instead of Elfrid Payton, only because he can shoot it a little better. One of my favorite players in the upcoming NBA season to keep an eye on is Mario Hezonja. I have him as my shooting guard. Really excited to actually let him play, where Scott Skiles says, hey, we don't have these guys play. I have Aaron Gordon as my 3, Serge Ibaka as my 4, and then Bismack Biyombo makes my lineup as my 5. Chuck P., we got to go quick. Who is your lineup?
I put Peyton at my 1. I think this is make or break year for Peyton. Do we think he's good? We'll find out. Evan Fournier at my 2. He was a little inconsistent. Let's see if we can keep it together. I put Aaron Gordon at my 3, Ibaka at the 4, and Vucevic at the 5, purely to be like, hey, look who's not there. Bismack Biyombo. Boom. I think that this is a team, my M. Night twist here, this is a team that could be top 10 defensively, but they're going to be bottom 7 offensively. They don't have anyone to score the ball. They're going to win less than 30 games. If you're a gambler out there and you see their over-under at 36.5, go hard under, because there's no way that this is going to work out. And Dan, for some reason, disagrees with me.
Because, you know what? They said shooting. That's where the NBA is going. We don't need shooting. Let's just go to a bunch of guys who can defend the basket.
We don't need no stinking shooting.
I am putting this team as my 8 seed. A lot of that has to do with Frank Vogel. I think he's a really quality coach, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think they're going to have enough scoring. They're going to try to slow these games down. They're going to kind of make teams play their pace when they're so used to playing this up and down style. It's what he did when he was in Indiana. It's what he did while he had not necessarily the best talent, but enough talent. I feel like he has enough talent here to do the same thing. Slow games down, make teams play at their pace, kind of zig when teams are zagging, and I put this team as my 8 seed, and I'm going to put them as an over that 36
Horrible
win
decision.
line. So
Horrible
you and
decision.
I differ on this, but you know what? That's okay. That's why we're doing this.
That's why we do it. Washington Wizards are our last team here in the Southeast Division. Dan, what are we looking at as far as Aaron Sorkin?
Another great Aaron Sorkin movie, The Social Network. Wrote the
Love
screenplay.
it.
Fantastic part of the movie when you have the Winklevi twins across from you have Mark Zuckerberg played by Jesse Eisenberg, and there's the whole litigation, everything going on with that. And the lawyer for the Winklevoss twins asks Jesse Eisenberg a question. He's kind of looking out the window. It's raining. He's not paying attention. And he says, Mr. Zuckerberg, do I have your attention? He says, you have part of my attention. You have the minimum amount. And that's how I feel about this Washington Wizards team. You have my attention because you have John Wall, you have Brad Beal, you have some young guys there, but you have the minimum amount because nobody can stay healthy. And I just want this team to stay healthy going into the season. We'll see if they can do anything, but Brad Beal played 35 games last year.
35, man.
Like, that's not a lot. And he just got a huge contract this summer. It's going to be, I think that's going to be a little butting of the head with John Wall and Brad Beal. Like, you're making so much money, Brad Beal, and you don't play. John Wall plays his butt off night in, night out. I hope it doesn't cause a rift in that team, but I think it might. You have my attention, but you have the minimum amount. Chuck P., who are you keeping your eye on?
Markieff Morris was a guy who really took a big step with the Phoenix Suns, but then they traded away his twin brother, Marcus, to the Pistons, and he threw a tantrum. And he got sat. It was this whole big thing with Markieff. You just didn't. You knew he was talented, but he just didn't have the right attitude. I want to see if kind of the summer in Washington, this is my new spot. This is where I'm going to be. I want to see if he gets acclimated and he gets his head in the right spot because he's got a lot of talent, and I really want to see him do well. Maybe try, texting his brother. He must be lonely. Maybe he'll find somebody else that also looks like him and hang out with that guy. We'll see
Hopefully.
what happens. Dan, who are you keeping an eye on?
I'm keeping my eye on Kelly Oubre Jr. He was a top 5 high school player coming out of high school. He went to Kansas, had a decent year, was drafted in the middle of the first round, and the Wizards are in desperate need of a small forward. Otto Porter has not been that guy. Now, that draft class, there was really nobody. I mean, unless they would have taken Giannis there was really nobody that was going to be a difference maker for that team. Otto Porter definitely is not that guy. So I think, again, we don't want to put too much onus on the Summer League, but Kelly Oubre played like a guy who was ready to make a step.
Who are you putting around him on the court?
So I've got John Wall as my point guard. I have Brad Beal as my shooting guard. I put Kelly Oubre in that position as my small forward. I have Marcus Morris, as you just talked about. Sorry, the other Morris. I apologize. Markieff,
okay.
Who I always mess up. And then I have Jan Mahimni, just so I could say Mahimni on the podcast.
I love it. I put John Wall at my 1, Brad Beal at my 2, Otto Porter at my 3. He had a decent playoffs last year, and not this past season, but the one before that. Morris at my 4 and Gortat at my 5. And here's the real reason why. Every other player that is on this roster is not a 6 or a 7 or maybe even an 8 in a regular rotation. This is my M. Night twist here. This team is going to be last in the league in bench scoring because the next guy up for when Brad Beal gets hurt, not if, but when Brad Beal gets hurt, is Marcus Thornton. Great. Another guy you have coming in is Andrew Nicholson. I mean, are you really going to put that much on Ian Mahimi for your bench scoring? Like, I don't believe in this bench at all. I think they're going to be out of the top 10 in the East, and they're going to be last in bench scoring. It's going to be awful.
I think you're exactly right. There's not a lot of depth here. I think this is a season where you try to get a guy like Kelly Oubre up and just playing lots of minutes at the NBA level. I hate to say this because I like the guy so much, but Brad Beal cannot stay healthy. And outside of that, there are just not enough guys to put the ball in the basket.
Right.
Wizards missed the playoff again, and I think they start to really look at, man, do we have the right group of guys here to really start contending in the East?
All right, well, that's been our Southeast Division preview. We nailed it. Make sure you check out our brand spanking new YouTube channel and our Facebook page. If you've missed any of our previous division previews, there we go. I was really rolling there for a second. If you've missed any of them, they're on our Facebook page. They're on our YouTube channel. They're also going to be on thegamehouse.com. That's HAUS, gamehouse.com. Check them out. They've also got some other divisional previews going on from their writers, and so they've got some other stuff happening. Check that out. They're also talking about who should really be the MVP this year, and it might actually be more hotly contested than we think. Make sure you check out thegamehouse.com. Check out our SoundCloud, Google Play, the iTunes, and Stitcher. Please rate and review and share all of that stuff. We really appreciate it. You can hit the subscribe button here on YouTube as well. I think that's all of them. That's all the hits we got. Oh, Tim Piscitelli made our music out on
yes,
SoundCloud.
but wait,
and,
you missed out the most
and
important hit that we always have.
Make sure you go.
To talk about Harold Miner because you never let me do it, but we're going to do it today. The preview with what Harold Miner is all about.
But all right, look, I realize he played for the Heat.
We even got to talk. We talked about the Heat today.
And you didn't bring him up. But like we had the whole thing. We went really long because you wanted to talk about Ernst Sorkin a lot, and you couldn't handle the truth and all that. I'm sorry, we can't do it today.
Can we do it? Okay, I'm not even going to say the next divisional preview, but can we do it the first week of the season?
I'll look
into it. I'll look into it.
All right. Well, I guess until then, make sure you travel safe. Be good to one another. Ball out.